Turbo and 2K show.
What is up, 2K crew? It is that time of the week again. Everyone, welcome into another episode of the Turbo and 2K show. And as you can see, it's just a Turbo show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. The 2K's household is being overrun by strep. So yeah, keep that shit at home. We don't need that. We and by we I mean me. We don't need that. So 2K's and the fam, hope everything is going good. Hope everyone's feeling better soon. So best of luck, and yeah, hopefully no one goes to jail, and everyone feels better soon. So T's and P's to them. But that's not why you're here. That's not why you're here. And I do want to say thank you to each and every one of you that are joining me tonight. I know there's a huge football game going on. So hopefully you can have this going as well as the game, because the Bills are up on the Ravens 21-10 going into halftime. And I've got to say right now, it feels weird going live when the game's at halftime, because normally on Sundays that it's usually like an 8:20 kick, so we kind of get a little bit in before the game starts, but it is what it is. But yeah, hell of a game. We're going to get into that as well as the other games that have been played, kind of preview some of the matchups moving forward, and I have a feeling a lot of you are here tonight to hear which I do have 2K's picks for all of the games moving forward, as well as the national championship game. So you better get locked in, because I got one hell of a show ready for you guys and gals. But first, let's jump into some news. Well, first of all, everyone, at least around here in Michigan, it is, when I was pulling into the studio, was 9 degrees. So everyone stay safe. If you do have elderly parents, family members, or neighbors, please make sure to check in on them, because yes, it is cold, as they would say, colder than a well digger's ass, whatever that means. But usually anyone's ass outside this time of year, it's going to be fucking cold. So let's get into the let's talk about some news here, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get to the good stuff, we got to bring you up to speed. And let's start off with kind of a melancholy start to the show. um Bob Uecker passed away. For those of you that are baseball fans, or just the casual fan, I have a feeling the vast majority, especially people my age, have seen Major League, and his iconic, iconic character goes down in the lore of sports movies. Just a bit outside, tried the corner and missed. I mean, we can all, especially the people I hang out with, we can all pretty much recite that whole entire movie word for word. Uke was 90, so it's not like he was a spring chicken, but it is always sad to see one of these icons no longer be with us. This is a tweet from Rob Hart. The best ambassador baseball or the city of Milwaukee ever had. Farewell, Bob. And he loved his Miller Lite. Best ballpark drink light because it's less filling. I know, I asked one. So we will be forever missing the Ukisms, as well as everything that comes with him. So rest in peace, my friend. Rest in peace. Let's see here. And I know we're not too much of a basketball show, but don't look now. The Pistons aren't terrible. And I've been kind of keeping my eye on this here a little bit. This tweet was grabbed, or I did repost this 5 days ago, so the win-loss record might be a little different. But Bobby Marks over on Twitter says the Pistons are the best story in the NBA right now. 21-19, 31 wins in the prior 2 seasons, an all-star in Cade Cunningham, shooters to complement Cade, a nice young core, Duran, Thompson, Holland, Sasser, and Ivy, and a tough-minded head coach. And like I said, 2K crew, I've been kind of keeping my eye on this, just because the Pistons have been, for the past handful of years, just a dumpster fire. I mean, they've went coach to coach to coach. They've, arguably, when they do have a shitty season, they don't get the number 1 overall pick that they would, that they would want, like Wemby. When they did get the number 1 overall pick was Cade Cunningham's draft, and there's a lot of folks saying, well, Cade's good, but is he that good? Is he, in most years, would he be a number 1 overall pick? And I think so. And this young roster has not only, what's really set them behind the 8 ball here is they've been hurt. They've been hurt a lot. And when you're young like that, you just need time. You need time. And this is what we're seeing. This team is coming together at the right time and I mean, as it sits now, I think they would be in the playoffs, but at 21-19, still plenty more games to go. So just something to keep an eye out. Just something to keep an eye out because the Pistons aren't, or no, excuse me, the Red Wings aren't terrible. We're going to get to the Lions here momentarily, but the Tigers made the postseason last year, so things are starting to look good, look on the up and up when it does come to Detroit sports. Now, go across the lake, if you will, to Chicago, and it's a whole different story. Whole different story. But yeah, that's another show for another time. Another show for another time. But for those of you that are watching live, I do want to say thank you. Whether you're watching from TikTok, if you're watching from or excuse me, there is no TikTok. Yes, TikTok is back on, but when I tried to go live, it would not let me. So believe me, I did try. I figured, what the hell, it's back. We might as well use it. So, but like I said, it would not let me go live. Excuse me. See, we don't need any strep. We've got enough junk going around here anyway. But yeah, if you're over on Twitter, thank you. YouTube, thank you. If you're watching from our Facebook group, thank you. Or if you are OG audio listener, the unsung heroes of this whole show, um, whether you're watching us you're listening to us in the car or on the treadmill, we appreciate each and every one of you dearly. So wherever you're at, give us a follow, give us a like, and if you're over on if you're over on YouTube, hit that bell so you get notified every time we go live. And yes, I did go live about 5 minutes, 10 minutes early, just because the weather's shitty. I want to get this out to you so I can get home. But aside from that, it's just cold. And even though I am a chubby guy, I do not do well in this type of cold. So it is what it is. And I think I timed it pretty nice. We're going live here, like I said, at halftime. So hopefully once the game gets started, you guys and gals stick with us. But yeah, let's continue on the news here. Let's see. Let's talk about the Dodgers. Dodgers had a big week. They signed Sasaki, which was kind of where everyone thought he would land, just because they had the most money available in that pool, in the international pool of dollars that they had. So it really wasn't a shock. There were some murmurings that he was going to try to go away from playing with Otani, but it is what it is. Rich get richer, and on top of that, they signed Tanner Scott. But look at this. This is from Sports Track over on Twitter. Deferred money on active Dodger contracts. Shohei Otani, $680 million. Mookie Betts, $115 million. Blake Snell, $66 million. Freddie Freeman, $57 million. Will Smith getting jiggy with it with $50 million. Tommy Edman, $25 million. Teoscar Hernandez, $23.5 million. And Tanner Scott, $21 million, for a total of $1.375 billion. That's with a B, ladies and gentlemen. Billion. Now let's take a look at this list. Blake Snell signing this year. They re-signed or extended Tommy Edman, so that includes some of that money. Teoscar Hernandez and Tanner Scott both signed this season. So what does this mean? What does this mean if you are a baseball fan? Well, it means that the Dodgers are doing something unprecedented. The Dodgers are doing something that, and now keep in mind, some of those contracts that they had out there, those were not the most money. Those were not the most per year that they were offered. They want to go play in LA with Shohei, with Mookie, with Freddie, and win a title. And when the Dodgers are putting together these contracts where they can defer money down the road, it kind of it's kind of like the NFL when they we've talked about the GMs playing salary cap gymnastics to get under the salary cap. This is kind of the same thing, even though there isn't a salary cap in baseball. But there's rumors going around that, or not rumors, just people being pissed off that the Dodgers are ruining baseball, and they're going above and beyond a lot of the things that the Yankees did in the late 90s and early 2000s when they were on their run. And I have to admit, it. I'm not saying it's worse. I'm saying it's just as bad. Now, the thing that really sucks is we're at the beginning of this. We're at the beginning of this, and this is not going to stop. And for those of you saying, well, why don't they outlaw this? Why don't they make a rule against it? Well, the collective bargaining agreement is through this year and next year. So I believe at the end of 2026, the collective bargaining agreement is up for renegotiation, and that's probably where we're going to see, if anything, um, see this try to be negotiated out, or rules put in place. Do I think that's going to happen? Probably. It's going to be mentioned, and I have a feeling throughout the owners' meetings and stuff like that, we're going to see clamorings of this situation being talked about, just because it is such a factor. It is such a factor, and is anything going to change prior to the CBA expiring? I honestly don't think so. I honestly don't think so. So where does this land us? And 2K crew, I hope to God I am wrong. I hope to God I am wrong, because the only people that really, really hate this are the fans. It's us. It's us. It really is. I'm sure the players themselves hate it that don't play on the Dodgers, but overall, if every other team were doing this, that means more money for the players. So why would the players be against it? The other owners are going to be against it for sure. But I have a feeling that this is such a broad topic that if there is an argument, I have a feeling we're going to be in for a long lockout. I really do. And like I said, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But it just seems to me that that's kind of where we're headed. So if you want to say that the Dodgers doing that is ruining baseball, then if there isn't an agreement or an amendment to the rules, or something happens in the new CBA, then quite possibly. But they're here to stay. They're here to stay, and they're not at all afraid to throw around money. And I think the easiest way and this is going to sound real easy coming from me, but the easiest way to combat this is the other owners have to fucking pay players. Have to pay players. Now, like I mentioned, there were teams locked, loaded, and ready with the $700 million that Shohei got. He chose to go to the Dodgers. There were many other, the Teoscar Hernandez, the Tanner Scott, those guys in Blake Snell, those guys all took lower amounts of money to play on this team. Give me less money so I can play on a championship caliber team. Sign me up. Sign me up. So it's not only the money that they're throwing around, but they're throwing it around in such a way that it's creating a culture that every single person wants to go play for them. All of the Patriots. That's kind of the only real, kind of dynastic run we've seen. We're currently seeing it with the Chiefs, which we'll get to the Chiefs here rather quickly. But that's kind of what we're seeing. And is it good for baseball? Is it bad for baseball? Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Baseball is probably the most team sport. In basketball, one player can take over a game and win. One player can take over a series in the playoffs and win. Football is kind of the same way. Baseball, you can kind of say it with starting pitching. However, the starting pitching we've seen lately has been very injury prone, in particular with the Dodgers. And I've told you my ultimate vision on Shohei. He wouldn't throw a baseball again. Give me a guy that's going to go 50-50 or have the opportunity to go 50-50 every season, and I will be completely happy. He never has to throw a pitch for me. But that's kind of the lure. That's kind of the mystique that comes with Shohei. So will they try it? Absolutely. Absolutely. But after 2 Tommy Johns, I wouldn't be messing with the man. I wouldn't, especially when he goes 50-50 while he's hurt. Almost 60-60. So kind of give me that comfort zone. I guess you could call it, but that's kind of where I'm at on that. It's kind of where I'm at on that. Let's see. I think that's all the news that I had here, 2K crew. So let's jump into Kansas City versus the Texans. Now, mind you, you could say that the Texans really had no business being in this game, period. The way they played during the regular season really did not lend themselves to even make the playoffs, let alone win a first round game. But last week we saw a fantastic game played by their defense and played by CJ Stroud as well as Joe Mixon, and those numbers pretty much played in this game as well. It's just the Patrick, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. And when I say that, I also mean we saw a lot of very, let's call it white glove treatment when it comes to Mr. Mahomes, because there was a lot of plays that if you're on Twitter, you've seen them all. You've seen them all. And do I think this is by happenstance? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Do I think this is on purpose? I think in the end, let's just put it this way: it's in the NFL's best interest if the Chiefs win. Not only win, but they do something that hasn't been done ever before, a three-peat. Something that Tommy couldn't do, something that no other team in the history of the NFL could do. And I'm curious to see who the referees are going to be when Chiefs welcome either Buffalo or Baltimore, which I think both teams playing right now are better than the Chiefs. I'll say it again for those of you that didn't hear me the first time. They are better than the Chiefs. Josh Allen is playing. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are MVP frontrunners for a reason, and we're seeing that on display heads up tonight, as we're recording this. Both these defenses for Buffalo and Baltimore, very good, very good. But you're gonna have to wait to see who I pick. You're gonna have to see again. You're gonna have to wait. Gonna have to wait. Let's talk about this game. And I'll be the first to admit I did not watch the first part of this because I forgot when it started. So that's on me. Hand up, that's on me. But we saw a Houston defense that was all over Mahomes all day. All day. Dude had 177 yards passing, and 117 of that was to Travis Kelce. Yes, it was cold. I get that. But 3 of these 4 games had weather. So it's not like if they played anywhere else, they were going to play with weather. Because obviously neither one of these teams could play in Detroit this weekend. But it just kind of, it didn't seem to me that Houston was as bothered by the weather. It was Chris Jones just taking over. And how many sacks did they have? Excuse me, Karlaftis had 3 sacks. They had 8 sacks. The whole team had 8 sacks. Chris Jones had 1. So it was just that the thing that had held this Houston Texans team back all season was the offensive line. Everyone's saying CJ Stroud took a huge step back. This guy's a bum. No, he's not. He is a badass. But you can only be a badass so much before you're just getting the shit beat out of you because this offensive line is absolutely garbage. So do not sleep on CJ. CJ is a dude. Joe Mixon is a dude. Nico Collins is a dude. Dalton Schultz is a dude. Another big thing is the other 2 dudes on this offense were out for the season. Tank Dell out for the season. Horrific injury. Stephon Diggs out for he was out for most of the season. Their big free agent splash. So I honestly think that, especially in a weak division, the AFC South, very weak, this team is going to, perennially make the playoffs, whether it's winning that division or getting a wild card spot. But this offensive line has to be addressed. Otherwise, CJ Stroud can be all the dude that he wants, but he can't do it when he's on the sideline hurt. The old cliche, the best ability is availability. And when he's on his back this much and getting the shit beat out of him, he's not going to be available that much. He is a rather sturdy dude. He's not lanky like Lamar or like Jaden Daniels, who we're going to talk about here next. But it's just the fact that and everyone was all week leading up to this. His footwork sucks. He can't get set in the pocket. He can't do this. Well, no shit. No shit. When you have multiple 300-pound dudes coming at you on every single play, I'd be a little gun shy too. I'd be gun. Yeah, yes. I would be. I'd be like Sam Darnold seeing ghosts. That would be me. That'd be all of us. And especially, I mean, CJ is mobile, but does he run a lot? No. He did this game. He had 42 yards rushing. So it's not like he's Joe Flacco in the pocket where he's just standing back there like a statue. That's not it. But ask Joe Burrow how better of a quarterback he would be if his offensive line actually gave him some time. And that dude led the NFL in passing with a shitty offensive line and almost made the playoffs. So for those of you shitting on this Texans team and CJ Stroud in particular, you don't know. Stop. I honestly think they just ran into some bad luck, some very fortunate calls made by for the Chiefs is what ultimately cost this Texans team the game. Shitty offensive line and shitty officiating. Let's just be real. Let's just be real. But Travis Kelce has himself a game like it seems like he always does in the playoffs, and that touchdown pass to Kelce is Mahomes is almost being sacked. That's Mahomes being Mahomes. There's not a defense alive that can stop that. That is just all guts, all instinct, and having 2 weeks off. We haven't seen the starters for Kansas City since the day after Christmas. The day after Christmas, because they sat their guys for the last regular season game, and then they had the bye. So we haven't seen these guys in quite a while. And could only the 23 points be rust? No. It's because this Texans defense is just that good. Will Anderson is a stud. So, and add to that the weather, and if you're a gambling person, which I am, you hammered I believe it was 5.5 catches for Kelce and over like 80 some yards. Yes, you hammer both those. So the game kind of played out the way I thought it would. But yeah, it is what it is. Really kind of shocked that D-Hop only had one target. But like I said, it was more of a dink and dunk approach instead of taking shots down the field in that cold weather, which I have a feeling we're going to see again next week, whether it's against the Ravens or the Bills, which you have to wait 2K Crew to get the picks. You have to wait. So let's talk about it. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. I know this is not the segment that all you Lions fans really wanted to hear. We all wanted to be dancing in the street of Detroit as the Lions, as the Lions dominate the rookie quarterback in Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders, because we're going to bite kneecaps off and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And unfortunately, 2K Crew, that's not the way it went. It's not the way it went. Lions go down 45-31. And the story of this game was turnovers. It was turnovers. Goff had 3 picks. Jamison Williams had a pick, which that Jamison Williams pick is the one that irritates me the most, which we'll get into here in a little bit. We're going to talk about it all, 2K Crew. Don't worry. For those of you watching live, let me know your thoughts on these games. Let me know your thoughts. So yeah, this is there's a lot of people that are just throwing Detroit under the bus. Throwing Dan Campbell under the bus, throwing Jared Goff. They want him out of town. They want them both out of town. It's a complete overreaction. And no, I am not going to say that the injuries finally caught up with them. That's not what I'm here about. That's not what I'm here about. But I do have a couple. Yeah, let's take a peek at this one. This is a tweet from Josh Tully, the Jungle Kid, over on Twitter. Look how fast people turn on hashtag Dan Campbell. 1 minute he's the savior in Detroit, and just as quickly he becomes the enemy. Lions fans should be ashamed. Dan Campbell is the best thing you've ever had in your entire franchise. Hashtag NFL. And 2K crew, I'm 100. I'm count me in. I am on that. I'm not even going to call it a bandwagon. I am on that train. I am on that train wholeheartedly. Just because you didn't win the Super Bowl, this is not Dan Campbell's fault. This is not Jared Goff's fault. This isn't even Jameson Williams' fault. Like I said about his interception. This was just playing. They played a better team. They played a hotter team. And if you take now, you could say last year they had a better run because they made it to the NFC title game. In my eyes, this team, the way Dan Campbell coached this team, managed this team with all the injuries, is something that it's never going to happen again. This man took this team not only from almost completely duffied for a whole season to winning the division, being the first overall seed in the NFC. Now, like I said, it didn't end the way everyone wanted it to or hoped to, myself included, because I was really hoping we would get a Lions-Bills Super Bowl. That's the one that I wanted. I've publicly said that on this show a bunch of times. That was the matchup that I wanted to see. But are we going to get that? No. The Bills are doing their part so far, but it just was not the Lions' day. Plain and simple. They got outplayed by this Washington team. A Washington team led by if Jaden Daniels does not win the offensive rookie of the year, there's something wrong. And yes, I know the votes have to be in before the playoffs start. I get that. But even taking out his 2 playoff wins so far, he's played phenomenal. He's played absolutely phenomenal. And you look at a lot of these games that he played leading up to this, the Hail Mary against the Bears, which ultimately crashed and burnt the Bears season. That was the nail in the coffin that early in the season, and they never recovered. Coach is gone. Offensive coordinator's gone. Same shitty offensive line. I mean, it was just that was what the Lions, or excuse me, the Bears happened to be the rest of the season after that one play. And this Washington team just said, screw it. We have nothing to lose. They had nothing to lose going into this game. The Lions had everything to lose. They were the prohibitive favorite. I believe they were 8.5 or 9-point favorites coming into this game, which is a shit ton of points in the NFL playoffs. And they just ran up against a buzzsaw. Now, one thing I am curious about is all of the coaching interviews that the OC and DC had to take care of while trying to prepare for this Washington team. Was that a factor? I don't know. I would think it would a little bit, just because you have to take time away from what you're doing, what you've done extremely great all season, to have to divide your time, and then not only your time, but your thoughts, your processes, divide all of that, because these are, I mean, rightfully so. These 2 gentlemen have earned the right to get these interviews, but man, NFL's got to do something different. So these whether it's an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, whomever it is that are being interviewed for these new coaching spots, we have to figure something out, because this whole thing just really isn't right. And I completely understand if you're like, well, Turbo, all these other teams, they're even if they aren't in the playoffs, they their coaches can take interviews. Like I said, I don't have a fix for it. I'm just saying someone smarter than me needs to figure it out, because to me that's just plain and simple. I do think that I do think that had something to do with it. And I'm not going to sit here and compare Sam Darnold to Jaden Daniels because they're two very different athletes, two very different quarterbacks. But you could argue that Sam Darnold was one of the hottest quarterbacks in the National Football League all season. If you had him on your fantasy team, you probably did very good throughout the season. And Jared Goff had been pretty much the same line aside from the turnovers, 303 yards passing and a touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs had 2 touchdowns. Jamison Williams had 1. You know, they got David Montgomery back, but you kind of saw they didn't utilize him a whole lot just because, you know, he's just coming back. And even without him against the Vikings, Jahmyr Gibbs has proven he's one of the top backs in the NFL. He is one of the top backs in the NFL. And when we talk about Goff, here's this is from Woodward Sports Network. Do you still believe that Jared Goff can deliver a Super Bowl to Detroit? So this leads me to a lot of the Twitterverse going on about, all right, everyone needs to calm down on the Jared Goff chance. Everyone needs to calm down on the Jared Goff chance. No, if you are a diehard Lions fan, this is the time you really need to up those and pump up those numbers, because what they've been doing right now, those are rookie numbers. Because when someone's down like that, I mean, he was a mess in that presser. So was MCDC. Both of these guys took it extremely, extremely serious and extremely heartfelt that this team lost. So if you give me a guy like that, a guy that cares that much on whether his guys win or lose, give me that guy all day. Give me that guy all day. And for a guy who threw 313 yards, yes, the 3 picks, yes, I get it. And, you know, you could say that, you know, Ben Johnson's the one calling the plays, and he's the one that dialed up that Jamison Williams pick. That was, to me, that was the turning point in the game. Once he threw that pick, that game was over. So untimely, yes. But we've seen the Lions pull rabbits out of their ass or hat, whichever you want to prefer. Time in and time out, you know, time and time again under MCDC. It just was not their day. And it sucks that it wasn't their day because they're 2 games away from the Super Bowl. This was 2 games away from the Super Bowl. Win this, win the next one, you're on to the Super Bowl. So to have it at this level, the timing sucks. I get it. The timing sucks. But this is not a throwaway thing. This is not, you know, get Goff and MCDC out of town. That's not the answer. That's not the answer. Because if I know MCDC the way I think I know him, oh shit. Next year's going to be awesome. Next year's going to be awesome. They extended Goff. They extended you know, Hutch will be back. Gibbs and Montgomery are gonna be back. The whole core of this team is going to be back. So to sit here and say that, you know, this was, you know, the window was closed after this season, completely and utterly ridiculous to say. Completely and utterly ridiculous. It just pains me because all these Lions fans for years bitched and bitched and bitched on how shitty the team was. They finally get a good one, and now they're like, nope, got to get these guys out of town. Can't do it with them. Can't win with them. Can't do it. Pull Dennis Green. Can't do it. Can't win with them. Well, if past 2 years they've been doing a lot of winning, so why fuck with that? Now, if Goff would have went out and had, you know, 175 yards and 3 picks, then we're talking about a different story. Okay. But the dude throws for over 300 yards. In probably the last, you know, when he got taken out, you know, Teddy Two Gloves comes in, spins the ball a little bit, gets down the field. I mean, hey, a few weeks ago, this dude was coaching high school football. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. But all I'm saying is, yeah, that wholeheartedly believe that that game turned on that Williams pick. Don't have your receivers throw balls like that. St. Brown had over 137 yards receiving. Gibbs had 70. Laporta showed up with 51 in a tud. So this team did what this team normally does. It's just there was a couple of mistakes, and if you're trying to end the Jared Goff era and the MCDC era in Detroit over that, you don't belong. You do not belong in the fandom. I'm sorry, that's just stupid. That's just stupid. Let's keep cruising. 2K crew. Rams and Eagles. Rams and Eagles. Very snowy. This game was awesome. This game was awesome. If you are, well, if you're a fan of either team, because we saw Matty Stafford spin the shit out of that ball, even though it was, a blizzard. But he does what Stafford does. He does what Stafford does. He threw for 324 yards and 2 touchdowns in a blizzard. The same Matt Stafford, you say, well, Matt, he played in Detroit all those years in a dome. In a dome. Yeah. Yeah. In a dome. Oh, this game's getting tighter. King Henry into the end zone. Into the end zone. Likely make it. Let's see if Baltimore goes for 2 to tie it up. But this was an awesome game. Kyron Williams goes for over 100. I wish Puka would have got into the end zone. That would have completed my parlay. Huge parlay. But the story of this show, 2K crew, is Saquon Barkley. 2 touchdown runs. One of them was 78 yards. One of them to pretty much ice the game, even though the Rams had a chance at the end. Goes for 205 yards rushing. 205 yards. And they do go for 2, and it's broken up, so score remains 21-19. Buffalo with 137 left to go in the third. Let's take a peek at this tweet here from the man, the myth, the legend, Jim Rome, the guy that we're always chasing. We're always coming after. Figured we'd give him his props. Saquon, this dude. But the Giants thought Daniel turnovers was more important. Another sleepless night for John Mora. Yeah, that is a bad look. That is a bad look. Chose to ride with Danny Dimes and let Saquon Barkley roll out of the building. Now Danny Dimes isn't even, he's on Minnesota. He's on Minnesota. So now you have neither of them. Neither of them. Tough look. But you know what? It's not a bad look for the Eagles because this team seems tough. They're the number two seed in the NFC for a reason. Number 2 seed for a reason. And Saquon was the absolute difference maker in this game. Absolute. I mean, Jalen throws for 128 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Like I said, Matty Stafford, 324, two touchdowns and no picks. Kyron goes for 100. Puka almost goes for 100. Cooper Kupp somehow comes out of nowhere. 5 catches, 61 yards. And Tyler Higbee continues to be that go-to. Actually, both tight ends, him and Parkinson, caught both the touchdowns. So, yeah, this was a great game. Like I said, in the snow, in a blizzard, just what you want from playoff NFL football. Absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. So before we get into the national title game, 2K crew, let's look ahead. Let's look ahead. This is going to be awesome. All right, schedule. They haven't updated it. There we go. Conference championship. So right now, Washington at Philly. Right now, ESPN Bet has Philly minus 5.5. And Philly has Philly at 5. DraftKings must have, FanDuel must have them at 4. Because 2Ks is taking the commies plus 4, and the over-under's at 47.5. He said smash the shit out of the over. Smash the shit out of the over. And that's a tough one. I am going over on this one. I think that's a no-brainer. But man, I'm going to go the other way. Give me Philly. Give me Philly given 5. Give me Philly given 5. And 2Ks is taking the Bills over the Ravens tonight, and he's also taking the Bills over the Chiefs. And obviously, we don't have a number for that because it hasn't happened yet. But I'm right there with him. I'm right there with him. I think it's Philly, Buffalo in the Super Bowl. 2Ks has, well, he didn't say he wanted the commies to win. He was just taking the points. So maybe he wants he's going Philly as well, but doesn't cover. I'm saying Philly covers. I'm saying Philly covers. So that's his pick here. And my pick. So let's jump into this national title game, 2K crew. Let's jump into it because I was very sad when as well as I think all of us were when we got on TikTok last night, and all of a sudden it's gone. It's gone. And I really feel bad for the Lions fans that wanted to get on there and either escape what had just happened or comment on what happened or let their frustrations out about what happened, and only to be left with nothing. Now, like I said, TikTok is back, but it was tough. It was tough. And some of our best content has been rolling out on TikTok. So I was like, man, we need to keep this going. We need to keep the momentum because the Notre Dame Ohio State stuff has kind of taken off. And yes, both 2Ks and I think that the spread is way too big. And he didn't really tell me who he thought would win, but he's going to give me he gave me his points to victory. Let's put it that way. But let me pull this up here. Let me get the updated as we speak lines here, 2K crew. Let me log in. Log into FanDuel, hashtag not sponsored, want to be sponsored. College Football Championship. Okay. I would have to believe that. Actually, I'm kind of curious. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. I know this is riveting television. And it's not giving me what I want. That's okay. I was just trying to see, where's the money at for public on this. And FanDuel used to have a cool little thing that would tell you, but now it doesn't tell you anymore. But the spread's 8.5. Ohio State favored by 8.5. And I believe when we went live last week, I believe the line was 9.5. And I made it very clear last week. I'm smashing that. Give me Notre Dame in the points. So obviously, one would think that if I took him at plus 9.5, would plus 8.5 sway me? No, not at all, not at all. Now, like I said, Ohio State, Ohio State TikTok and Ohio State fans they're saying this is Ohio State by a million. Ohio State by a million. And I wish I could play. And if you haven't seen it, get on Twitter or just search the internet for the Shane Gillis Under Armour ad. Absolutely hilarious, absolutely awesome, and another banger by the Notre Dame football sports media. They are absolutely destroying shit. Another banger. But this is going to come down to now, from the reports that I've heard, Jeremiah Love practiced without the knee brace. and is looking as close to 100% as humanly possible, which is going to be huge. Which is going to be huge because he didn't have that great of a game against Penn State. And really, aside from that, 98-yard run against Indiana, that's about, I mean, you can't really get much longer of a rush than 98 yards, but he hasn't been that explosive. We saw against Penn State the rushing touchdown that he scored. That was nothing but grit, heart, determination, and a little bit of luck. And I love every bit of it because that's the type of team this is. Gritty, might not have the most talent, but have the most heart, the most grit, play together as a team. And I think that is going to be key. I think that is going to be key. And add to that a quarterback that can throw it better than most people can, really give him credit for. Is he going to throw for 300? No. Nope. Nope. Is he going to throw for 4 touchdowns? Nope. Nope. He might run for 2 and throw 2, but he's not throwing 4. If he does, that's completely awesome. I'm not saying don't do it, Riley, but from the 15 games that we've seen so far, we haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen that yet. And I think too, the rumors of Mike Denbrock taking NFL defensive coordinator calls and interviews is rather disturbing, especially from an Irish fan. Considering the rant that I went on with the Lions coordinators, how much of a distraction was that? Now, Marcus Freeman has already come out and said he's not interested in the NFL, so his attention being diverted, I really don't think is an issue. Excuse me. But it all goes down tomorrow. It all goes down tomorrow. 8:00 or 7:30. Ohio State, Notre Dame. The one thing I love about this game is Notre Dame is the home team, so they will be wearing their blue uniforms, which I think are way sexier than the white ones. And they usually seem to play better in the blue. Historically, let's put it that way. But this Ohio State team is legit, 2K Crew. Ohio State team is legit. But that is still a lot of points. Still a lot of points. I had someone comment on a video right before we went live saying, "Oh well, if Notre Dame can score over 24, then this game's going to lean their way." Ohio State has only given up one 20-point game, and that was against Oregon. Yep. I totally understand. Totally understand. What's the over under on this one? I just shut it down. 45.5. So we've got 8.5 spread, 45.5 is the line. Give me Notre Dame in the points. Still sticking with that. I took Notre Dame at 9, plus 9.5. If you're making me take it again, which I will for the sake of this exercise, give me Notre Dame plus 8.5. But Notre Dame minus 8.5 on FanDuel is minus 114. Ohio State minus 105. Yeah, minus 106. So we might see that line change yet again prior to kickoff, just because those numbers, they're close to 110, but yeah, we might see that. But give me that plus 290. Give me Notre Dame money line. Give me Notre Dame money line in 45.5. Give me the over. Give me the over. I know that's a stretch, but if you think about it this way, see, 45, that's 23. 23 points per team. That's not a lot of points, but both these defenses are extremely stingy. 2K says give me Notre Dame plus 8.5 and the under. The 2K's keys to victory. Irish need to survive the first quarter and establish the run. Riley Leonard has to play his best game ever and rush for at least 40 yards to extend drives. 100%. 100%. Riley Leonard needs to have, I'm going to say 80, 75 to 80 yards. And Jeremiah Love is going to have to be a huge, huge factor in this game. But I'm curious to see which one of the wide receivers or tight ends become the go-to guy for that game. Is it going to be Faison? Is it going to be Greathouse? There's a couple other guys coming back from injury, so that's going to be awesome. Is it going to be Mitchell Evans? You know, the Irish do have a lot of weapons. They're just not well established. And I am definitely not going to compare them to the three-headed monster that the Buckeyes have at wide receiver. Buckeyes have a tandem of great running backs. Notre Dame has three. Four if you count Riley Leonard. So this game is going to be very interesting. Going to be very interesting. I love this. This game scares the shit out of me, but I love it. I absolutely love it. And regardless, this has catapulted Notre Dame into likability for a lot of college football, whereas previously the line of Notre Dame haters was extensive, absolutely extensive. I think the world has seen how awesome Coach Freeman is. Not only awesome as a coach, but awesome as a person. Awesome at what he stands for, his ideologies, and what he believes in. And I think too that this has brought to light how great of a leader Riley Leonard is, as well as a quarterback for Ohio State. No one's even talking about him, being a draftable commodity. He absolutely needs to be. I think out of the guys that, Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, that whole crew, I think a little too much spotlight's being shown on them. Because this kid can spin it. This kid could spin it. And I honestly think in the quarterback draft, the one everyone's absolutely sleeping on is Jackson Dart. I think that kid has a chance to absolutely stun a ton of people. So yeah, Will Howard, you have a chance to make yourself a lot of money tomorrow night. But you're also going up against the best secondary you've seen all season. So it's going to be best on best, and probably one of the best pass rushers you've seen all season. That offensive line for Ohio State's been kind of the chink in their armor, and their armor is extremely thick. But this has kind of been the one thing that really is, it's their weakness. They haven't shown it yet. Texas was able to get to them. But I think this Notre Dame defense is better than Texas's. I really do. This Notre Dame offense is different than the offense for Texas. And if you had to make me pick who would I want in this game, Riley Leonard or Quinn Ewers, give me the guy who's willing to lay, just put it all out on the line, get that extra inch, be tough, be gritty. I honestly think I would take Riley Leonard in this game over Quinn Ewers. I do. Throw all the passing stats away. Give me just grit. Give me just heart. Give me determination. That's my guy. So 2K crew, let me know your thoughts. How do you think this game's going to go? I, for one, can't wait. I am a nervous wreck. I love every minute of it. And I hope this is Notre Dame has already taken that next step for me. This would be the ultimate, just cherry on top to win this game. And, I honestly think this is going to be something that, year in and year out, you're going to see Notre Dame in these playoffs, and you're going to see Notre Dame make runs like this. So this is not going to be unprecedented. It's unprecedented right now, but it's going to become the norm. As long as Marcus Freeman is there, and as long as he keeps recruiting these types of players, this is going to become the regular Notre Dame fans. This right here is going to become the regular. And sign me up for that because I love every single minute of it. And that being said, 2K Crew, I'll get you out of here on this. Everyone have a great week. Everyone have a fantastic night tomorrow. This game should be electric. As we sign off here, it's 24-19 Buffalo, 10 minutes to go in the fourth. And it looks like Buffalo is driving. So I will leave you here with that. Everyone be safe, stay warm. And as always, Jim Rome, we're coming for you.